One night in the city, John comes home to his wife Karen. However, they don't talk very much and have dinner in different rooms. Their relationship is clearly in shambles. They do sit together to watch the news and learn about an infection that has been quickly spreading. John thinks it's just some big pharmaceutical company trying to cash in and even blames them for the virus, but Karen ignores his theories. When John announces he'll grade some papers before going to bed, Karen tries to say something but decides to leave the talk for tomorrow. The next morning, John hears a plane flying too close, which makes a hole in his roof before it crashes nearby. At that moment, Karen finally wants to talk, but John leaves to investigate the incident. He doesn't hear her say she wants a divorce. Outside, John looks at the plane crashed on the side of a building, causing a big fire. Their neighbors tell John that infected people are biting, so he returns home to tell Karen while they keep hearing sirens outside. They look out the window and discover that infected people have become zombies, who are currently attacking people to feed on. The couple immediately turns on the news and Karen drinks while watching reporters tell everyone to stay inside. Then they check on their food and realize they don't have much, which causes so much stress for John that he rushes to the bathroom to throw up. Karen wants him to get supplies from the neighbor's apartment, pointing out that he should be safe in the corridor and nobody cares about illegal acts anymore. She also promises to take turns. Moments later, John comes back with food and says their neighbor's door was open. Karen agrees to go, but first she puts on a helmet, gloves, and tapes a knife to her shoe. Before leaving, she tells John to take out the moving boxes from the closet so they can use them to store stuff. When Karen returns with more supplies, John asks if the boxes meant she was planning on leaving him or she only got them to put things in storage. Karen only says yes. Afterward, she sends John out with protection to get the neighbor's big TV. That evening, the news reporter announces this is their last broadcast, claiming they'll come back when the situation stabilizes. He reminds everyone to stay inside and avoid physical contact with others. Military teams are evacuating people, so anyone in need of rescue must put an X on their windows. Updates will be done on the radio at 3 in the afternoon. The couple uses tape to add the X to their windows, and later that night a helicopter flies by, but it doesn't stop for them. The next morning, John finds Karen coming back with more stuff. She says she couldn't sleep, so she searched neighboring apartments because they don't know how long they'll be stuck there. John makes her promise they'll give back the stuff when the pandemic is over, but he's very disappointed to see Karen has taken non-essential things, like pretty dresses. Afterward, John's afraid that the zombies may get in and searches for ways to defend himself, like using spray on a lighter to improvise a flamethrower. Karen helps him gather all the knives and hammers in the apartment and some flour to mess with visibility. At 3, a government official on the radio announces that there's still no known cause for the pandemic and that only certain parts of the world are affected, promising that they're working hard to keep electricity and water working. Trying to keep themselves busy, the couple plays cards. John thinks things will go back to normal because history shows that humanity always recovers from big events like the Black Plague. However, Karen is annoyed by his constant positive attitude and starts drinking even though it's morning. When John calls her out, Karen points out she's been drinking every day for a year and he hasn't noticed. He follows her to the nursery and they finally discuss the elephant in the room. It turns out their baby daughter died and they haven't been the same since. Karen thinks that soon they'll be gone too, but John assures her that they'll survive this. Determined to be ready in case of an attack, the couple starts exercising, although Karen never stops drinking. One night she hears someone at the door and John wonders if it's the rescue team. When he opens it, a zombie immediately reaches inside and the couple has to push against her to close the door again. That afternoon, the radio announces that a scientist is trying to isolate the virus to develop a vaccine. The stress of not real news is causing lots of stress for the couple, who decides to smoke to deal with it. Normal cigarettes aren't enough, so Karen reveals she has stronger stuff she's stolen from the evidence locker. John freaks out but ends up consuming the happy powder too when Karen calls him a chicken. Karen says she's proud of him before taking out the large collection of illegal substances she's brought from work plus a gun. She also admits that the last few times she and John got dirty were thanks to her spiking the muffins, which makes John want to try more stuff. The couple spends the evening watching VHS movies and drinking. The next day, Karen is startled awake by a shot and something breaking. It turns out John is practicing with the gun and has broken a bowl Karen's mother gave her. He points out that she hates her mother, but Karen is angry anyway. When she goes to the bathroom, she sees a rescue helicopter flying by without stopping at their street. During breakfast, John admits yesterday was eye-opening and agrees they need to get ready for the long haul. They start by putting the pieces of the broken bowl outside the door, then they make a bunch of Molotov bombs with their alcohol. They continue to exercise, but they also keep on consuming the happy powder. At 3 they turn on the radio, however there's no broadcast. At that moment someone knocks on their door. The couple gets their hammers ready and open the door just enough to find their neighbors Leo and Emily. They ask to come in and explain their situation. They got stuck in the laundry room after the plane crash, and by the time they finally got out the zombies had invaded their apartment. They guess there were actual people here because of the broken bowl outside. The guests ask for food since they haven't eaten in 2 days, so John and Karen go to the kitchen. Then both couples start arguing in whispers. Emily tells Leo that Karen went crazy after losing her baby and learning she can't have kids anymore, She also complains about Karen taking down her notes from the laundry room. At the same time, Karen tells John they should be saving the food for themselves and complains about Emily filling the laundry room with angry post-its. John insists that helping is the right thing to do, so Karen suggests they should mix happy powder in the food because it stifles hunger. After sharing dinner, Emily notices that the dresses and the TV look like hers. Karen asks the guests what their plan is and Leo says that if she wants them to leave, they will. However, Karen isn't brave enough to kick them out. Leo mentions they're good at cleaning and Karen replies they can help with that. They spend the rest of the evening drinking and chatting, although Emily doesn't let Leo get too heated in a discussion with John, forcing him to change his opinion to be nice. When it's time to sleep, Leo and Emily are shocked to hear they'll have to do it on the floor. While brushing her teeth, Karen rants to John, saying their guests think they're better because they have extra rooms at their place. However, she still doesn't want to kick them out because she's afraid that after the pandemic is over, other neighbors will judge them for not helping. That night, Karen gets naughty with John just to annoy their guests with the noise. Emily sees it as a competition and gets naughty with Leo too, so both women get louder and louder on purpose. The next morning, Emily stays in the bathroom doing nothing just to make Karen wait. After breakfast, Karen asks the guests to clean up in exchange for being fed. While working, Emily complains about cleaning being degrading. Leo says they should play along and even points out that they could just leave. However, Emily wants revenge, so they agree to overpower John and Karen in their sleep. After they're done cleaning, Leo and Emily notice Karen napping and say they should do it now. Karen wakes up and takes John to another room to tell him she's suspicious of their guests because she heard what they said. Thinking that Leo and Emily want to kill them, the couple agrees to strike first. Moments later, Karen shares some cookies that she's secretly made with illegal substances, intending to just freak them out. However, she uses too much and the couple eats so many cookies that they end up dying on the couch. Unable to deal with being murderers, John and Karen take some happy powder to relax. Suddenly they hear Leo and Emily waking up and realize they're becoming zombies, so Karen immediately shoots them down. Then they take the bodies to the other apartment and spend the rest of the day consuming uppers. When it's time to go to bed, they take sedatives to fall asleep. That night they sleep so deeply that they don't hear a rescue helicopter telling survivors to turn on their lights so they can find them. The next morning, Karen says that since any day could be their last, she wants to go out by being herself. They consume more uppers and spend a long time getting naughty. Afterward, while they take a bath, Karen announces that after this is over she wants to adopt a child, and John agrees. They both admit they haven't stopped loving each other and hope to make things work again. The first thing they do is have a date night, and John admits he let work take over his life after they lost the baby. However, the pandemic has given him a new perspective and taught him what he really wants. After watching a romantic movie, the couple gets ready to get dirty, but at that moment someone knocks on their door. A voice says it's the rescue team and Karen opens the door, only for 3 thugs to burst in and strike her down. They threaten John with a knife and ask him to gather anything valuable while the leader takes Karen to the bedroom to take advantage of her. When she sees an opening, she throws flour at his face and kicks him in the groin. Then she gets some scissors and repeatedly stabs him in the neck. The other 2 thugs come to check on their leader and get angry at Karen, but before they can touch her, John appears with the gun and quickly kills them both. The couple takes the bodies to another apartment before having a drink. Suddenly they hear a voice and realize it's the rescue team. They rush to the window and try to get their attention to no avail. They decide to leave the apartment and discover that the corridor is full of zombies, so John starts hitting them with a hammer and ends up with their blood on his face. This isn't enough to create an opening, so the couple closes the door again and returns to the window, but the helicopters are gone. Karen gets nervous because they don't have much food left, so John promises they'll make a plan after they rest. In the middle of the night, Karen wakes up to find John getting all their weapons sharp and flashlights ready with fresh batteries. Then they dress up with some protection and share words of love with a kiss. The couple leaves the apartment and tries to fight their way through the zombie horde, however there are too many of them and they're forced to go home. After settling down, Karen reveals that she was bitten in the leg. John immediately comforts her, pointing out she may not transform if she stays alive and reminding her that a pharmaceutical company will want to make money with a vaccine soon. That night Karen discovers she doesn't like wine anymore. After having a horrible nightmare, Karen wakes up and tries to leave the apartment. When John stops her, she explains she feels a weird hunger that she can't control. John pours his own blood into a glass and Karen quickly drinks it, realizing this does help with her hunger. She points out that John can't donate blood forever and he snaps, saying that it's his choice and they just need to wait for help. He hugs her to apologize for her outburst and Karen admits she can smell his blood, so she urges him to cover the wound. Later the couple discusses their future and cries. Then Karen takes a bath and considers self-deleting, but she can't do it. John brings her a glass of blood and she desperately drinks it all. That night they get naughty without the need to consume anything first. The next morning John wakes up to find the bed empty. In the bathroom there's a letter from Karen thanking him for a great life together. She explains she's been having nightmares about becoming a zombie and wants him to end it, so he needs to go to the nursery. John goes to that room and finds a zombified Karen chained to the wall. A sign hangs on her chest with the words "Love me, kill me." In tears, John tells her more about the future he imagines after the pandemic. After drinking to drown his sorrows, he grabs his gun and gets ready to shoot his wife. Moments later, a group of soldiers enters the apartment because they saw the X on the window. When they enter the nursery, they discover that John and Karen are both zombies and their arms are taped together. The captain calls it love before another soldier reads a new law: zombies aren't considered citizens, and to maintain the peace, they have the right to shoot them to death. After killing John and Karen, the soldiers leave. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.